Hi, we're going to do a little demo of WeBWorK. That's the software we use for homework and testing in Stack 200. You'll usually get to WeBWorK using from the course website. That's this thing up here, right? And that'll be in an email. It's also posted to the D2L page for this. I don't use D2L. Instead, everything is linked from here. All right, so to get to the course WeBWorK site, you don't have homework at first, of course, but you will pretty soon. You get to the course WeBWorK site by clicking course WeBWorK site, and that brings you to this page right here. And this should say Corwin Stat 200 Fall 2020. To log in, you use your Radford username. That's the same name you use to get email and so on. And then for a password, you use the last 6 digits of your Radford ID number. So I'm going to log in here as dnull, and then I'm going to put in my password, which will of course be 6 digits because it's the last 6 digits of my Radford ID number. Then I'm going to click continue. Okay, by default you get to this homework sets page. If you click courses, you'll see a list of other courses you can get into, but you don't have logins for any of them, so you actually can't. You don't really need that link. Homework sets, that's where all the work is. This link here called user settings, that's where you can change your password. And then there's one called grades, and we'll get to that later. You can see that there are a whole lot of homework sets. Some of them are called lecture something. There's lecture 3. Some of them are called practice something. The difference between these is that the ones called lecture or something, those are real homework. They count. Right? That's what your homework grade is based on. These things called practice, practice 1, practice 12, whatever, those are just a few exercises, usually simpler than the homework exercises, but they give you some idea of what the homework will be like. The practice exercises, not only do they not count, your answers are not even recorded. You can try them as many times as you want. Later on, when we have tests and a final exam, there will be links at the very bottom of this page that say things like take test 1 and so on. All right. Here's how you get into, before I even get into one of these, notice the difference here. This demo homework set is open. It's open and it's due, well, you can see it's due just before midnight on Christmas Eve so that you don't miss Santa. The others, it tells you when they will open, and of course that little display will change once they are open. It'll tell you that they're open and give you the due date. All right, to get into a set, you just click on it. And here's what you see, the usual stuff up here. Here, all the homework sets are listed. You can just click on one to get to it. Over here, you have the problems in this demo homework set. And I need to stop and point out a few things about this page. First, problem names. And then second, the second column is the number of attempts you have made at the problem so far. You can see I haven't attempted any of these. This is this is remaining attempts. This is not doesn't mean problems remaining. It means attempts remaining, right? On this first and second problem, you have unlimited attempts. You can do those as many times as you want. The third problem, you have only 1 attempt. You have to get it right the first time. After that, you can still submit answers, but they won't count. And of course, you can see what these are. This column that says worth at the top, that tells you what each problem is worth. Each problem is worth 1 point. Many of the homework problems in WeBWorK are worth 1 point, but some have multiple answers that require a little work each, and those are worth more. And this status column tells me how I'm doing on each problem. This problem I have 0% right, and of course the same for all the rest. All right, so to start, you want to click on a problem. So I'm going to click on problem 1, and this is what it looks like, right? Problem 1. Let's see, what features of this page do I want to point out? There's a previous button that obviously isn't lit up because there's no problem previous to problem 1. And then there's a next button, which if I click it will get me to problem 2, and now I can click previous. Right? And this will get me to the problem list, but of course that's already over here. Down at the bottom, before I look at the problem itself, down at the bottom it says how many times I've attempted the problem and how many attempts I have left. And then right at the very bottom there's a button that says found a bug, email your instructor. You can email your instructor even if you haven't found a bug using that button, and that's how you should email me about a problem, because these numbers in problems, they are, in most cases, they are different from student to student. You get different numbers than another student might get. Right? And I need to see, in order to answer questions about these problems for you, I need to see the exact problem that you got. And the way I can do that most easily is if you email me from within the problem itself by clicking this button. All right, so here's the problem. A survey of 1,000 adults in the U.S. found that 12% prefer to take their vacations during the winter months. What's the population? And this time I'm going to answer correctly. The population is all U.S. adults, and I just click the little radio button. And you can click preview my answers if you like. It won't show you much of anything in this course. There are courses in which that's actually a useful button. In order for your answer to be recorded, you have to click submit answers. Right? Until you click that, the system does not know that you've answered the problem. If I just click this and hit next, or in another problem, click an answer and hit previous, my answer will not be recorded. You have to click submit answers. So let me do that. And we'll see what it looks like when you get something right. It's all a lovely green color, and it says correct. This answer preview is pretty much worthless. It shows you what you entered and so on. And it says the above answer is correct. The problem is reproduced below it, because if you got the problem wrong or any part of it wrong, that means you can just go ahead and do it without hitting the previous button or whatever. Sometimes you will see something that says you can get a new version of the problem. That means with different random numbers in it. That's useful for studying for a test and so on. Down here I get some information. My score was recorded. I've attempted this problem one time. I've gotten it right. This says what my score was for this attempt and what the overall recorded score is. And it also tells me how many attempts I have remaining. Okay, next problem. Next problem is the same kind of thing, only you have drop downs. Okay? Determine whether these things are qualitative or quantitative. And we're just going to click and choose a few things. This is qualitative. This one's quantitative. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead, you can see the usual stuff is here. I'm going to go ahead and click submit answers. And in this case, it tells me exactly which one of these I have right and which ones I have wrong. Right? I got this one and this one right and all the rest wrong. Here it says at least one of the answers is not correct. Sometimes that's all you see. You don't see which parts are correct and which parts are not. And then I can do the problem again and so on. Okay? Oh, also notice I've received a score of 40% for this attempt, and that's my overall score as well. All right, I'm just going to go on to the next one. Problem 3. This is a matching problem. Well, first of all, this is the problem you have only one chance at, and it says you have only one chance at this problem. I tried to click to highlight that, but no luck. Right? It may or may not say that. I've tried to add it to every single problem where you have a bounded number of chances, one chance, two chances, and so on. I might have missed one, but you can always tell from the page and also down here at the bottom how many attempts you have. All right, well, this is a matching problem. I'm not even going to read it to you, because why would I? Right? You can always go back and you can always try these. Every one of these problems in this demo is just a practice problem from one set or another. So you'll see them again. One thing you should notice, it says match the following terms with their descriptions and so on. Be sure to type only the letter of the answer, not the period. Right? So for population here, the correct answer is the 10,000 plants. In this case, that's a D. I can use a lowercase d. That'll work fine. What I cannot do is type the period after it, just the letter. All right, and put in answers for the rest and click submit answers. And it tells you what you got wrong and what you didn't. And if you go down to the bottom, it says you've attempted it one time, you got a score of 20, you don't have any attempts remaining. And you can see, even if let's see, I'm going to put in the correct answer here and hit, well, yeah, there's no submit answers. I can hit check answers to see whether I now have it right? But it didn't count. It did not record my score. There wasn't even a submit answers button. All right, next problem. This is a problem where you have to type in a number. What is the z-score? The thing I wanted to point out here is it says round your answer to 2 decimal places. Well, that means you really have to do that. Like if the answer is 7.02, okay, then you need to put 7.02. If you put 7.0, very likely your answer will be marked wrong. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and put in 7.02. I don't know, that's probably not the right answer. I'm not working the problem at all. I'm just going to submit it, and no, it's not correct. All right, and the next problem, similar kind of thing, except you have to enter 5 different numbers, and I'm not going to bother doing this. Let's see, which ones can I do just by looking? I guess 40 on this end and 70 on this end. The rest I have to actually calculate. I'll submit them, and you can see I got those 2 right and the ones in the middle wrong and so on. All right, let's go to the grades display to see how I'm doing on this so far. All right, this is what I see. First of all, I see mostly blue boxes with little dots in them, right? And that means a little blue box with a dot in it. That means I haven't done anything at all on the problem. I have not submitted even one answer. Right? So, for example, in lecture 1 here, I have gotten 0 points so far, that's my score, out of a possible 10. And the same with all the rest, except for this demo one that I was just doing here, I got 2 points out of 5. Okay? This tells me how I did on the individual problems. A C in a green box means the problem is complete and correct, 100%. The 0 underneath it means I didn't submit any incorrect attempts while doing the problem. For problem 2, I have a 40% right. I did submit at least one incorrect answer. Now those incorrect answer things, they do not affect your grade in any way. They are just for the information of the instructor. Right? I can look at them, and suppose I see that everyone in the class took at least 5 attempts to do problem 5. Well, then I know that students are having a substantial amount of trouble with problem 5, and maybe it's something I should talk about more. Anyway, that's the grades. There's really very little more to say about WeBWorK. WeBWorK is an extremely solid program. This is our 20th year using it at Radford University, and it's almost never given us any trouble at all. So I don't expect it'll give you any trouble either. If you find a problem with any of the homework problems, if you find what you think is a bug in a problem, that is, you're certain you've answered it correctly, but you don't get credit for it, then you should email me from within the problem and tell me what happened. All right, if I go up here, I can log out, and of course I'll get something like this. That's about it. That's all I have to say about WeBWorK.